we hear in Jesus' parable in the gospel, God is demanding. One of the main messages from this parable. And maybe some of us experience that sense that God is demanding. He asks a lot of us, perhaps we could say, in normal circumstances to attend Mass every Sunday, to go to confession once a year, to perform an act of penance on Fridays throughout the year, to pray every day, to carry our crosses, bear our burdens, just starting the list in a way. God is demanding, but why is God demanding? When we think of demanding people, oftentimes we think of our boss who puts the report on our desk and tells us to finish it by the end of the day or else we're fired. Or the people on our team who don't do their work but expect us to do it all for them. Or maybe somebody who constantly nags us to do this or that and doesn't seem to understand all that we have on our plate. These are sometimes the things we think of when we think of demanding people. But is God demanding in those ways? Or are there other ways that people can be demanding? Our minds might first go to those kind of people that we just mentioned before, but I'm confident that most of you have encountered a different kind of demanding person at least once in your life. And I'm confident of that, especially for members of our own parish who maybe are on the younger side, but because I know of two examples of people in our own community who have recently passed, but who are demanding in a different sort of way. And this is not to exclude other examples, but just a couple that came to mind. Coach Denny Malliard, for instance, who died 2 years ago. Coach of football, basketball, baseball, and track for close to 50 years, most of those here at St. Margaret Mary. He demanded a lot of his athletes. He enforced discipline. He pushed them hard. I was reading the article that was written around the time that he had passed, and it said he had the football policy that if a player had 2 unexcused absences, it was time for them to turn in their gear. He was demanding to his athletes, but why was he demanding? Another example, Pat Johns, who died a year ago, 4th and 5th grade teacher here at St. Margaret Mary School for 49 years, was lovingly known as the General, or General Johns. She demanded a lot of her students. She required their attention and their order in the classroom. She made students organize their thoughts using her method of outlining. So she was demanding, but why was she demanding? For teachers and coaches and mentors, of course, they demand much of us. They do it because they see the potential in us. They see who we could become, and they know the steps that it's going to take to get there. Father Andy Rosa was a former parishioner of Mrs. Johns and preached the homily at his funeral. I remember a comment that he made as I was talking to him in the sacristy, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but the sense was expressing that Mrs. Johns would keep pushing people to the best even when they really didn't want to, and they really, threw up a protest against her methods. He said something like, she loved her students more than she loved their contentment. And these are just some examples from our community, but I'm sure each of you might be able to think of somebody in your life who demanded much of you in this sort of way, pushed you hard to do your best. And so we come back to the question that we kind of started out with. Why is God demanding? Why does he ask all of these things of us? Well, he sees who we can become. He sees the great value in our life, the meaning in our life, and the ways that our lives can be of great service and meaning to the people around us. And he knows that these things that he demands of us are the steps that it will take to get there. So whether we have 10 talents or 5 talents or just 1 talent, God asks us to put those to good use because he wants us to be in heaven with him forever. He wants us to be saints. Again, he knows who we can become. He knows our potential, And the steps that he lays out for us might seem demanding, but it's given to us out of love. It's the steps that it takes for us to become saints.